19. Okay, page 48 in the temple room. So we can read the Sanskrit and the English together. Text 19. Sagosho tatarashtanam hridayani vyadarayat navascha prithivim chaiva tumulobhyanunadayan. Translation. The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, and thus, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth, it shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. Text 20. Devastitam drishtva tatarashtram kapitvaja pravritte shastra sampate dhanurudyam mya pandava. Is it really? Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, that was confusing. Okay. Atavyavastitam drishtva tatarashtram kapitvaja pravritte shastra sampate dhanurudyam pandavaha rishikesham tadavakyam idam aham hipate. Translation. O king, at that time looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra, O king, Arjuna then spoke to Hrishikesha, Krishna, these words. Arjuna uvacha senayoruhayor madhye ratam stapaya mechuta yavaditan niriksheham yodhu kamana vishtitan karmaya sayodhaivyam Translation. Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see who is present here, who is desirous of fighting, and with whom I must contend in this great battle attempt. Text 23. Yotsyamana maveksheham yaete trasamagataha Dhritarashtrasya durbode yudhe priya chikirshavaha. Translation. Let me see those who have come to here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Sanjaya uvacha evamukto hrishikesho kudakeshena bharata senayoruvayor madhye Stapyayitvartotamam. Translation. Sanjaya said, O descendant of Bharata, being thus addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. Text 25. Bhishma Drona Pramukhnata Sarvesham cha Mahikshitam Avacha Partha Pashyaitan Samavetan Kuruniti. Translation. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all other chieftains of the world, Hrishikesha, the Lord said, just behold, Partha, all the Kurus who are assembled here. Text 26. Tatra Pashyat Stitan Partha Ata Pitama Achayan Matulan Pratrin Potran Sakistata Swasat Sudaschaiva Sanayoru Hayorapi. Translation. There Arjuna could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons and grandsons, friends, and also his father-in-law and well-wishers, all present there. Text 27. Tan samikshya sakunteya sarvabondhuna vastitan kripaya paraya vishto vishidan idamabravit. Translation: when the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. Arjuna uvacha drishtvenmam swakchanam Krishna yuyutsum samupastitam siddhanti mamakatrani mukham cha parishushyati. Translation: Arjuna said, "My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up." Last text, text 29. Vepatuscha sharire me romaharshascha jayate gandivam samshansati istat tvakchaiva paridayate. Translation: my whole body is trembling, and my hair is standing on end. My bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. Back to text 19. Text 19. The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, and thus vibrating both in the sky and on the earth, it shattered the hearts of the son of Dhritarashtra. Purport: when Bhishma and the others on the side of Duryodhana blew their respective conch shells, there was no heartbreaking on the part of the Pandavas. Such occurrences are not mentioned, but in this particular verse, it is mentioned that the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra were shattered by the sounds vibrated by the Pandavas party. This is due to the Pandavas and their confidence in Lord Krishna. One who takes shelter of the Supreme Lord has nothing to fear, even in the midst of the greatest calamity. So we're in the first chapter, and it's talking about how this verse in particular is talking about how the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra were just shattered because they in their heart of hearts they knew that they couldn't win this fight. They knew that Krishna was on the other side, and whenever Krishna is, this is in general, but whenever Krishna is around, there's always, it's said in the Bhagavad-gita, there's always victory, opulence, extraordinary power, and a few other things, but I can't remember them. But yes, so it's very important right here that we're seeing this, because we see that if you're against Krishna at all, in any way, shape, or form, then you can't win. There's no possibility of doing it because he's God. And if you go against God, he's the unlimited supreme. It just doesn't make sense, Even the atheists know that, okay, if I did believe in a God, I wouldn't be able to compare to him. They're so afraid of this, I don't want to say an idea, but this person that's God. They're so afraid of him because he's so great and he's so powerful, and he gives his devotees the strength that they need to win in every battle that they come across, whether that be on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, or whether that be in the office, or whether that be in the temple, or whether that be in a relationship, or whether that's just, these things. So if we're on the side of Krishna, then we have nothing to fear. But what we're most afraid of is death. That's what scares everyone. And if someone is on the side of Krishna and they take shelter of the Supreme Lord, then there's no possibility for them to actually die, because their soul is eternal. And if their soul is eternal and they are conscious of their soul, and Krishna, the supreme controller of that soul and the body and all these things, all the material nature, if they're conscious of these things, there's no death. So the most terrifying thing in this material world is not even, doesn't even make an eye wince or anything like that. It doesn't make, you can just flick your eye away from it or something like that. You're not worried about it, because Krishna is giving you all the strength that you need to figure out these calamities. And it's said that, well, there's two sayings. I like two sayings. One is that for the atheist, death is God. So that's a nice thing. That's really nice, because we know that they don't believe in a God, but it's kind of a nice, it's not nice, but it's poetic justice. You know, Krishna is unlimitedly poetic. And one of his ways of being poetic is that he shows this atheist at the end of his life that he wasted his whole life. And not only that, he was going against what he was supposed to be doing. And that terrifying realization comes at the end of life. And it haunts him. It haunts the conditioned soul, the atheist especially, because, yeah, just because it's really eye-opening to see that we have no control over anything in our lives. Nothing. It's all by the grace of Krishna. So that's a nice point. And the other point that I like when we talk about atheists or people who don't believe in Krishna, or they don't follow the four regulative principles, and they don't chant 16 rounds, things like this. But it's said that for the non-devotee, death is like being a mouse in the mouth of a cat. And for the devotee, it's like being a kitten in the mouth of a cat. So we can see these two different opposing opinions and opposing sides. On one hand, you have the mouse, whose natural enemy is the cat. And when the mouse is caught by the cat, there's so much fear, so much anxiety. They just want to get out of that cat's mouth, and they just want to run away. But they can't, because the cat is stronger than them. It's not faster than them. It might be faster than them, but because that's how it caught it. But the cat is many times stronger than the mouse. But the kitten, he's still weaker than the cat, but he knows that, okay, this is my mother, and she's not gonna do any harm to me, because she has all good intentions for me, because I came out of her womb and I'm a part of her. So there's no way that she would knowingly do harm to me where I'd be afraid of her. So this is like what it's like for us at death. And if we're on Krishna's side, then we're the kitten in the mouth of the cat. We're not the mouse. So this is a very nice point. I think I've spoken as much as I can about that. So we can go to the next text if that's okay. O king, at that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, who was seated in his chariot, his flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. Looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra, O king, Arjuna then spoke to Hrishikesha, Krishna, these words. Purport. The battle was just about to begin. It is understood from the above statement, that the sons of Dhritarashtra were more or less disheartened by the unexpected arrangement of military force by the Pandavas, who were guided by the direct instructions of Lord Krishna on the battlefield. The emblem of Hanuman on the flag of Arjuna is another sign of victory, because Hanuman cooperated with Lord Ram in the battle between Rama and Ravana, and Lord Rama emerged victorious. Now both Rama and Hanuman were present on the chariot of Arjuna to help him. Lord Krishna is Rama himself, and wherever Lord Rama is, his eternal servitor, Hanuman, and his eternal consort, Sita, the goddess of fortune, are present. Therefore, Arjuna had no cause to fear any enemies whatsoever. And above all, the Lord of the senses, Lord Krishna, was personally present to give him direction. Thus, all good counsel was available to Arjuna in the matter of executing the battle. In such auspicious conditions, arranged by the Lord for his eternal devotee, lay the signs of assured victory. So this purport is speaking about Hanuman and Lord Ram. And Hanuman was the greatest servitor of Lord Ramachandra, because he gave everything for Lord Ramachandra. I remember I was reading in it wasn't an ISKCON book, it wasn't a bona fide book, but it was before I came to ISKCON. There was a book that I was reading, and it was saying that Hanuman was thinking in his mind before he set fire to Lanka, yes, I found Sita, but a good soldier goes above and beyond the call of duty. So Hanuman, Hanuman is a perfect example of a devotee who's willing to give everything to Lord Krishna, so that Lord Krishna can be satisfied. I mean, when Lord Ramachandra's wife was stolen by Ravana, he was absolutely devastated, and he wanted to burn the whole world. But Hanuman, he saw this in Lord Ramachandra, and he wanted to alleviate his pain so much that he was able to overcome the difficulties of jumping over the Indian Ocean to Lanka and finding Sita incognito, and eventually setting fire to Lanka and, murdering almost all of Ravana's army. So this is just a little glimpse of what can happen if we're devotees of God. This is because the devotees of God are glorious. They do amazing things. I mean, I'm just thinking about like what they're doing in Atlanta. Have you seen it? They're selling Bhagavatam sets on the street to random people who know nothing about Vedic culture. I'm telling you, these are $300 Bhagavatam sets, and they're out there selling these things like it's candy. I mean, it's crazy, So this is just one thing, It's people who have. I mean, I know at least one person who has never heard of Vedic culture before. I don't know, maybe before his adulthood. Matsya Prabhu, he's probably never heard of Vedic culture before he heard about Krishna consciousness. So that's just one group of devotees totally taking over a city and flipping it upside down and making devotees by selling Bhagavatam sets. This is the opulence that we see in devotees. This is what we're all hankering after. We all want to be influential. We all want to be loved by everyone. We all want to be, we want to be pure devotees. It said, I remember there was somebody who said that in book distribution, if you just tell a person, if you just compliment a person based on the qualities of a pure devotee, Shri Gauranitai Ki Jai. If you just compliment a person on the qualities of a pure devotee, they'll automatically be flattered. Like if you tell them that they're humble, if you tell them that they're poetic, or if you tell them that they're surrendered to God, then they'll automatically be like, wow, this guy, he sees more than just what's on the surface. He sees that I'm trying in my life to better myself, and maybe he has something good to share with me. So let me see if I can take this book. Of course, they don't always take the book because they're either busy or they have their girlfriend with them, or they're just in Maya or something like that. But these what was I gonna say? Anyway, yeah. So what was I saying? Prabhu, do you remember what I was saying? Okay, yeah. So this is the opulence of the devotees that we not me, but all of you are doing such amazing things. I mean, I see every one of you and I just think like, wow, these people, they're actually putting their heart and soul into this devotional service, and Krishna reciprocates with that. Krishna sees that we have a desire in our heart, not only to just see him, but to serve him, to offer service to the 9 processes of I'm going to do the 7 processes of devotional service because, as servants, we only do 7. When we get to, as neophytes, we only do 7, but when we get to more advanced stages, we do more. But anyways, it's, so we serve the Lord by hearing, chanting, remembering, worshiping the deity, serving the lotus feet, praying and serving, I think. Yeah. So this is what we have to look forward to. I mean, I was talking with Bhakti Noe a little bit, like just before we started this class, and he was so fired up. He's so fired up about chanting. He loves chanting, and it's because he heard that when you chant, you can actually get these ecstatic symptoms. Hairs stand on end, tears flow, and one has separation mood. I mean, this is just the result of doing a little bit of devotional service. I mean, all we have to do is chant 3.5 crore mantras of this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and we can get ecstatic symptoms. This is all we have to do. We just have to chant this mantra 3.5 crore times. That's nothing. I mean, compared to what the yogis have to do, compared to what the Gyanis have to do. They study all day and night, and the yogis, they do austerities. They go in the cold water in wintertime. They sit in the sun in summertime all day. They go underwater. They meditate for years on end. All these things, and we only have to chant 3.5 crore mantras. That's all we have to do. We just have to speak. We have to speak, and we also have to serve. We also have to do our services. We can't just only be chanting all the time, it's good, but unless we're Babajis, we should do service as well. If we're asked to do service, if that's our service is to do something like that. But, yeah, this service, I mean, it's so easy. I mean, I'm not trying to say it's easy, but it's simple. So It's so simple that anyone can take it up. Anyone can pick it up, and they can um experience the opulence of a devotee. So this is what we have in our back pocket, and that's what we want to share with the whole world. That we want to share that, you know, we have the secret to success in life. You know, you have nice cars, you have a nice house, you have a nice family, you have nice food, you have nice clothes, you have nice everything. Yes, you're right. We're living somewhere, you know. Anyway, we're living somewhere and you're living over there. But we have something that you can never in your dreams think about. It's there's a story in this connection where about how this devotional service is a gem and that we should hold on to it. There's a story in this connection. So there was a brahmana, I think, or it was one of the ashrams. There's a man from one of the ashrams, and he was saying that he was praying to Lord Shiva, and he was asking Lord Shiva, please give me the most valuable thing that I can get. And Lord Shiva actually came to this person and he said, okay, you go find Sanatana Goswami. And so he went to Sanatana Goswami. He found Sanatana Goswami and he asked Sanatana Goswami, please, sir, please give me the most valuable thing that you can, Lord Shiva sent me to find the most valuable thing on this earth. Please give me this. And so Sanatana Goswami, he pointed at a pile of trash, and he goes, whatever you want is in there. And he said there's a Chintamani stone in there. So the man looked in the trash and he goes, wow, this is Chintamani stone, and I can turn iron to gold now. I have unlimited power now, unlimited wealth, everything. And so he goes away. But as he's walking away, he starts thinking to himself, if this is such a valuable stone, why was it in the garbage? Why did Sanatana Goswami completely neglect it? And why was he so willing to give it up if this is the most valuable thing in the world? So he goes back to Sanatana Goswami and he asks Sanatana Goswami, he goes, sir, I don't think you've given me the most valuable thing. I was hoping to maybe get the most valuable thing. Do you think you could share it with me? And Sanatana Goswami goes, I can't remember exactly what he says, but Sanatana Goswami gives him the Maha Mantra, and like that, he just got engaged in devotional service. So this devotional service is a gem to everyone. It's truly it helps everyone. Not just that it helps, only Americans, it helps only Africans, it helps only Indians, it helps only Asians, it helps only Europeans. No, it helps everyone. And we can see that because Prabhupada, when he was 70 years old, he crossed the Atlantic Ocean by himself as a sannyasi. He had no family. He crossed the Atlantic Ocean and he came to New York, the biggest city on earth. And they say if you want to make it big, if you can make it in New York City, you can make it anywhere. So he went to New York City, the biggest city in all of, the most popular city in all of the world. And he started off very humbly. He was going from place to place. He was, what's it called? It was a very humble beginning. But we can see that because he was engaged in the service of the Lord, Krishna personally took charge of his life, and Krishna made sure. I was in the what's it called, the disciples course class, and Dina Bandhu was saying that because Srila Prabhupada spread this movement throughout the entire world. Krishna is going to make sure that no one ever forgets him. So this is what we have to look forward to in devotional service. If we want glory, if we want riches, if we want, fame, we can get it all. We just have to devote ourselves to this devotional service. That's all we have to do. It's really it's an eye opener for all of us, because when we are, anyway, we're trying our best, and when we do that, Krishna sees that, and he blesses us with many miracles, many blessings. So we can always try to get the blessings of Krishna by engaging in devotional service. Chanting is a big thing, and then just trying our best. So I think I've belabored the point a little bit. So we can go to the next text, if that's okay. Okay. Text 23. Wait. Oh, text 22, 21 and 22. Thank you. Arjuna said, "O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies, so that I may see who is present here, who is desirous of fighting, and with whom I must contend in this great battle attempt." Purport. Although Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, out of his causeless mercy he was engaged in the service of his friend. He never fails in his affection for his devotees, and thus he is addressed herein as infallible. As charioteer, he had to carry out the orders of Arjuna, and since he did not hesitate to do so, he is addressed as infallible. Although he had accepted the position of a charioteer for his devotee, his supreme position was not challenged. In all circumstances, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hrishikesha, the Lord of the total senses. The relationship between the Lord and his servitor is very sweet and transcendental. The servitor is always ready to render a service to the Lord, and similarly, the Lord is always seeking an opportunity to render some service to the devotee. He takes greater pleasure in his pure devotees assuming the advantageous position of ordering him than he does in being the giver of orders. As master, everyone is under his orders, and no one is above him to order him. But when he finds that a pure devotee is ordering him, he obtains transcendental pleasure. Although he is the infallible master of all circumstances. As a pure devotee of the Lord, Arjuna had no desire to fight with his cousins and brothers, but he was forced to come onto the battlefield by the obstinacy of Duryodhana, who was never agreeable to any peaceful negotiation. Therefore, he was very anxious to see who the leading persons present on the battlefield were. Although there was no question of a peacemaking endeavor on the battlefield, he wanted to see them again and see how much they were bent upon demanding an unwanted war. Krishna is eternally sweet, and we see this in the purport by Prabhupada saying that he becomes a servitor of the devotee. It's an eternally sweet exchange, because when Krishna is helping his devotee, he's the most pleased. It's like being in a family, It's like when the father sees that the son is trying so hard to do something, and the father knows he can help. Why wouldn't the father help? He would of course he would help. The father says, "My dear son, here, let me help you. I'll do this for you." And the father actually derives pleasure from that, because he wants to see his son happy. And so in the same way, Arjuna is the supreme father of everyone, and he just wants to see his devotees happy. So he'll take on any responsibility, any role, any position, anything to make his devotee happy, or to encourage his devotee in any way. There's And it's beautiful, it's beautiful that Krishna can do this, so that he's so humble that he can take up a lower position than his devotee, who is supposed to be lower than him, who is lower than him. That he's so humble that he takes up this position of charioteer driver, just to make his devotee, not make his devotee happy, but to help his devotee. That's really something. There's a pastime in Chaitanya Lila where Lord Chaitanya he was he was walking, and he saw this man, and he was looking at the cover of the Bhagavad-gita, and he was crying. The man was crying, and Lord Chaitanya goes, "Sir, why are you crying? You just look." He just said, "Why are you crying?" And the man goes, "I'm crying because I see that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the most pure of all pures, the most exalted of all the demigods and all the anybody. He's the most exalted being in the entire cosmic creation. Yet he is taking the position of charioteer driver for Arjuna. And that's what's making me cry. Because how humble does one have to be in order to take a lower position than their inferiors? It's just amazing. But of course, we know that Krishna is just playing the part of a human being, and we know that we know that he is God. So he doesn't have these inferiority complexes or anything like that we are. We're so complicated. We think, oh, I have to be on top. I have to be number one. I have to be the top dog. But Lord Krishna, he doesn't have any of that. He's supremely humble. That's one of the qualities of Krishna, is that he's humble. He has 64 qualities, and the devotee has 26 qualities, but he has 64, and he's full in all opulences. So he has all these he has humility in full. So when we think about humility, we can think like Krishna. We can think about Krishna, because of what he's done for Arjuna. So I think there was a little bit more in this purport. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to talk about. Okay, so the rest of the purport is talking about how Arjuna since he was a pure devotee, he didn't want to fight with his cousins and brothers. And as human beings, as people with emotions, feelings, mental attachments, things like that, just like Arjuna, he had mental attachments as well. So if he had mental attachments, then this Bhagavad-gita is showing us that if this pure devotee has material attachments to the material world, then we are so far into the material. We are so entangled in this material world that Krishna says it's very difficult to overcome this material energy. So we have to be very fixed up in the Lord's service. But yeah, this is so. Arjuna was very afflicted by his cousins and brothers and all his family members wanting to destroy him and take his rightful kingdom, and just make a foolery, a mockery, a show out of their rights as princes. So he was very afflicted by this, and but he still didn't want to hurt them at all. So how many of us can say that? Like if If somebody, like I had one time, this is, anyway, there's one time somebody threw a book in my face, and I was just like immediately so fired up. I was like, "Arr!" And I wanted to fight. I was in fight or flight mode. And so if somebody does this to us, and if somebody does this to us, if somebody does something disrespectful to us, then we automatically assume the worst of that person, the worst of that person. But Arjuna, he's a pure devotee, and he only sees what he would do wrong, if he were to engage in this warfare. And it's and so if this pure devotee is very afflicted by this material attachment, then how can we possibly get over this material attachment, get over this material existence? How do we cross the ocean of material existence? And it's said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, I don't know the verse, but something Lata Bij, Guru Krishna Prasade, by something Bhakti Lata Bij. So by the mercy of the pure devotee and by the mercy of Krishna, we actually get devotional service. So we have to we get lucky by coming in contact with this pure devotee. I was hearing Swayam Bhagavam Keshava, Maharaj, and he was speaking on this point, and he was saying that we have to at first get the mercy of the pure devotee in order to get the mercy of Krishna. So it's a back and forth thing. We have to get this mercy. That's the only way to cross over this ocean of material existence, is by getting the mercy. I was also I hear a lot of people, so I'm sorry if there's not a constant stream of one person talking about devotional service. But yeah, I listen to a lot of people. Kadamba Kanana Swami, Swayam Bhagavam Keshava's Guru Maharaj, he was saying that we're looking for blessings. We have to pray for the mercy of Krishna. We have to endeavor very hard, and we're looking for blessings. So that's really important, because if the blessings aren't there, then nothing can happen. We can't do anything without blessings. I mean, we can't even do this. Like, this is not me. This is the super soul telling my hand. All I can do is desire. The super soul is what's moving my hand. All I can do is desire to move my hand. And the super soul, he sees my desire and he fulfills it because he's so kind. So I forgot my point, but yeah. Let's go to the next text if you'd like. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Purport. It was an open secret that Duryodhana wanted to usurp the kingdom of the Pandavas by evil plans, in collaboration with his father, Dhritarashtra. Therefore, all persons who had joined the side of Duryodhana must have been birds of the same feather. Arjuna wanted to see them in the battlefield before the fight was begun, just to learn who they were, but he had no intention of proposing peace negotiations with them. It was also a fact that he wanted to see them to make an estimate of the strength which he had to face, although he was quite confident of victory because Krishna was sitting by his side. Okay, I think oh, Mars has a comment? Oh. Does anybody have any questions or comments that they'd like to ask or say? Yes, Jai Keshava Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thanks for all your wonderful explanations about devotional service and how we can do that. I just wanted to draw attention again to this nice imagery we get in the Bhagavad-gita of Arjuna pulling up his bow, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. And we have on the front cover the nice drawing of that, this nice artwork of the devotees who spend so much time and effort. And we can we can contemplate on these things. That's, Vishnu Smaranam. We're hearing the words and then we're contemplating and we're trying to see Krishna within our minds. Of course, Krishna will grant us that ability to see him face to face by his mercy one day.
Yeah.
But I was just appreciating the nice artwork and the different processes we would follow for devotional service, and how when we increase the Krishna Katha, we increase our reading, we increase our hearing of the glories of Krishna, then this artwork can be more present in our mind. We can actually be Krishna conscious and be blissful and have all those 26 qualities, like you said. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's hearing is a very important part about it. Hearing is I was hearing one time that it's the most important process, because when we hear, we're taking in this information. When we take it into our consciousness, we're more conscious of what this is just me, thinking like logically, when we take it into our consciousness, we're more aware of what we're doing. And when we're more aware of what we're doing, then we can change our habits. So this hearing is very important. Chanting is also important. Every one of them is very important, but hearing may just be the most important one, because it gives us impetus to change our behaviors. So, is there any other comments or question? Yes, Bhaktan away. Prabhu, Bhaktan away, Prabhu.
So you were mentioning that we should seek blessings.
Yeah.
When we chant, what is that? What are blessings?
So, blessings. That's a good question. I gotta ask that question one day. I don't exactly know what blessings are, but it's basic. The basic understanding of blessings is that we get something which we desire. So when we desire something, if it's a spiritual desire, and if it's pure in its intention, we can get that fulfilled by Krishna, because Krishna looks at our intention. He doesn't look at what we're doing. He looks at what our intention is, whether it's to please him or whether it's to, please ourselves. So when we have a good and nice pure desire, a nice pure intention, then Krishna will give us blessings for attaining a certain goal, or doing some particular service, or anything, so and it's really important that we get these blessings. It's the most important thing. But the only way we can do that is by serving the spiritual master and pleasing him, because we can't please Krishna directly. We have to go through his transparent via medium. So the spiritual master is the external representation of the super soul. So when we please the spiritual master, we automatically please, since he's the representation of super soul, we automatically please, God. Yes, Magadari Prabhu.
So blessings, like we heard this morning from Srila Prabhupada, that there is one saintly person who is giving some blessings, right?
Yeah.
So this is one of the main ways we get blessings, is that we present ourselves as a humble recipient of mercy from the devotees and to the deities, to the acharyas, to the books. The books themselves are able to give certain blessings to us, right?
Yeah.
And specifically, like all the different literatures, you can, and it's Prabhupada describes how you can actually worship the books, right?
Right.
And you can get specific blessings, empowerment, right? And we're praying to Srimati Tulsi Devi, right? She can give specific blessings, and the acharyas are praying to her that they become one of her maidservants in the spiritual world, so that they can assist in the loving exchanges of Krishna with his associates, and they can behold the form of Radha and Krishna. So blessings can be received from the mridanga, from, all the paraphernalia, everything. So if we're always in that mood to seek it, we know that who's the ultimate bestower. That's why I liked your point, is you went straight to Krishna. He's the bestower of blessings. But this is that nice point that you mentioned about the opulence of the devotee. It's almost like Krishna says, okay, you give out some of my blessings for me. And the devotee is so humble, he says, I don't have any blessings to give you. Go to Prabhupada, get your blessings from Prabhupada. But somebody who's really in that mood and is really surrendered to Prabhupada, he can also give you blessings too. So that was a point that I thought you can just always be in that mood to receive Krishna's mercy and to please the spiritual master. And he wants to see us acting humbly with the devotees, and he wants to see that service attitude. So,
and it's a big point too, that all spiritual, I mean, I'm not sure about this, but I know this is true for some, that the spiritual master, he just wants the disciple to preach this movement all over the world. He wants the disciple to become guru and deliver the world as well. So one easy way to get these blessings is by, one, having a spiritual master, and then two, also preaching as much as you can, whether that's book distribution, whether that's giving classes like Mother Devaki. I was really impressed by Mother Devaki, and what's it called? I was just impressed that she could deliver such a nice class. But whether it's preaching, traveling preacher, whether you're book distributor, or whether you're a cook, you can preach while you cook. You can preach by cleaning the temple of the deity. You can preach by cleaning, you can preach by working in your job and being an exemplary character. You can preach through all these things. So yeah, I hope that helps. Thank you, Magadari Prabhu. Okay. Srimad Bhagavad-gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo.